Welcome to the Business Spotlight, where today the spotlight is shining on Stuart from Blucando. Welcome, Stuart.
Hi there, Tim.
Hi.
How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good, thanks. I'm so excited to have you here.
And thanks for the invite.
To start with, tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit more about you and the business, please.
Yeah, for sure. So it's, as Nell kind of introduced me, it's Stuart from Blucando. We're an IT support service company. So Spotlight really focusing heavily on the frontline IT support services for companies, small to medium. We have got a number of larger companies that we're starting to work with as well. But we do specialise in those that have just left the corporate world. Well, a lot of people now post-COVID have decided that that's not the route, so they've decided to set up on their own, so heavily involved in supporting them, acting as their IT support team when they're in the corporate world. We also do project management, Office 365 migrations, a lot of those going on and everything, and really trying to focus on making their IT an asset rather than a cost center. Nice.
And how long have you been in business for?
Yeah, so we're now 8.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know where that's gone.
I was just going to say, doesn't time fly?
It does. It certainly does when you're working on lots of exciting things going on. So that's for sure.
Yeah. So what motivated you to get started with a business? Like, was that something that you'd always wanted to do, or did you fall into it? How did you get started?
Both Ben and I have worked in the IT industry for a good number of years. I think I was working out the other day, and it was nearly 30 years now, so getting a bit grey in the tooth for it. And we were working together quite closely and worked with a number of larger MSP, which is managed service providers. And their model is very long-term contracts, wrapping people up, really sort of convoluting IT, and almost, still making IT as a dark art. And we spent a good number of years we're talking and discussing about what we could potentially do to actually make the industry different. And that's what motivated us into launching Blucando, to become very anti-MSP and really work and to redesign the whole market, really.
Okay, so actually nicely leading on from that, what do you guys do really well?
Sorry.
What do you do really well? Like, what's your company really great at?
Yeah, so it's really customer focused. With what we're trying to pick up in is a lot of people are, the technology is racing ahead, and trying to encourage people to use technology, and quite a lot of the times, actually, it's been forgotten that actually people using the technology themselves, so they need the support, they need the coaching and everything. That's what's really been important to us. Yes, we can talk high level discussions with suppliers about very technical things, but on the other side, we can then speak to people in layman's terms, without wishing to sound rude, a language that people would understand, and I think that's what's really been dropped out of the industry, the IT industry, over the sort of development or the new technologies around place.
Yeah, totally get that. Now, you've been in business for 8.5 years, so more than likely you've had some challenges that have cropped up in those 8.5 years. What share a couple with, what's been a really tough thing?
Well, yeah, somebody said to me, you're going to face all these challenges. I've been like, maybe I should stay there. But there's I don't think there's a day you go without a challenge, with that sort of thing. You just then start to go, I recognize this. But the number of things is when you first start out, it's trying to do everything yourself. We all reference Google, and we all become accountants and all that sort of thing. And then you soon realize, actually, no, you need to get the specialist in. But to allow the business to grow, you need those people. But you need those people, you've got to grow the business. So you get into you've got a sort of thing. You get to crossroads. You've got to turn left, you've got to turn right. You've really got to make a quick snap decision and go down that path. You know, sometimes you get it right, or sometimes you have to then do a little bit of a U-turn and come back and reassess where you're at, and then go down again. So yeah, I think that's really, you know, the big learning is to realize actually quite quickly, yeah, you probably do need specialist experts in, such as yourself from a coaching point of view, or an accountant, and those sort of things. There are things that, you know, you just can't do yourself.
So in hindsight, and hindsight always gives us 2020 vision, let's be honest.
Yeah.
In hindsight, what's maybe one of those experts that you would have used quicker now that you're looking back?
Yeah, I think it would be probably a business coach and an accountant that would go there quite quickly to know the figures. You know, we haven't had a particularly great track record with accountants, because I don't think we knew what we wanted and what we wanted the figures. Yes, the figures are great; they've been put in front of us, but what do they mean? You know. And so that's where I say, again, with the business coach sort of thing as well, is to actually use those figures and go from there. So, you know, I think I can quite openly, honestly say we are now probably on top of the figures and understand, and if we do this, this is going to happen. If we do that, that's going to happen. So yeah, that would be the real sort of thing. Not just an accountant, but, you know, understanding what those figures actually mean. You know.
Yeah, and I think, and you must have fallen in that same category. What I often see is people are scared to ask their accountant the questions of what does this mean, because we fear that we're looking a little bit stupid when we ask.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we're IT experts. That's what we do. You know, we're all experts in our different fields.
Yeah.
But when you go to ask somebody, you know, an accountant, they will give you quite often an accountant's answer, and you actually don't know what they mean. That's why I was referencing earlier on, where we sit in between, you know, the customers and the suppliers. You know, you actually need to sort of assess, and I think quite a few accountants are extremely good at what they do, but can't really express that into a way where you actually can utilize any of the information that's coming forward. Yeah,
and I guess as business owners, we don't always know what we don't know, so you can't always ask what you kind of should be asking there.
That's it. Yeah,
the guys, the same, I guess, what you're going through with your clients.
That's it. You know, people, they kind of know where the final destination is, but how they set off and get there, that's not sure. So they set off at the destination and then realize, actually, no, we needed to be over there. Rather than where they thought they were going to go.
Love that. What have been some of your biggest wins, like over the last 8.5 years? What is really standing out as great achievements for you guys?
Yeah, I think the building the team. You know, when we first started off, there was just myself and Ben in our luxurious office, which is a shed cum office. You know, until where we are today, in you know, quite a large office with 22 members of the team, which is it's a great position to be in, and I think that's where, you know, and bringing those people together and work for the business. You know, IT people, we do have our quirks, and so to round to round those sort of people up and then pull them all together to work together as a team, to really sort of work and get an understanding what the business needs to achieve, then that I think is probably one of our biggest things that we really hope to have succeeded with.
So as a business owner, what still keeps you awake at night?
Oh, wow, there's a, you know, a number of things. I think the one thing that really bugs me and keeps me awake is the external factors that you have no control over.
Okay.
Because as a business owner, we sit here, we go, I can look after my team, I've got my HR policies, I've got my training procedures, I've got everything in place, and we know where we're going. And and then all of a sudden we get hit with you know, a COVID experience that we've all been through over the last 3 years, and then it's increasing business rates and higher taxes and things, and those quickly, you have no control over them. You know, they're there and happening, and no matter what amount of planning you do, You can't have a contingency plan for everything. So I think that's
No.
where I'd say to people is, you need to accept the unexpected, which is and try to understand that sort of thing. But yeah, that's what keeps me really awake, really. So
Okay. Would you say that that's got worse over the last 3 years because things have changed so rapidly, or is it kind of the same if you compare it to when you started and maybe it was slightly more normal time, if that's what we can call it?
I think it's definitely more uncertainty. That's
Okay.
obviously because the world is a changing place. I think more so now than ever. There are different factors that come in. I think if I go back to when we first started the business, yeah, things were going on, but it was the economy was pretty stable. The world outcome was pretty stable. China and America were looking like they were going to be friends, and and everything like that. And now where we get to now is this massive uncertainty. So I think it's definitely got worse. But I think as you as we work along and you grow the business, you start to sort of get skills and tool sets and things, and go, when the COVID hit and everything changed, you then had a massive toolkit, so that when these things have come along now, you've gone, actually, I've got a little bit of kit in my bag that I've dealt with that a little bit. I can drag that out. It's not going to be the same stuff that I need, but I've got a bit more experience, and I can really sort of brush myself off and accept it and get to the final outcome a bit quicker. So.
Yeah, that's the thing, I guess, isn't it? As a business owner, you grow that resilience because you've come across so many changes and so many challenges throughout the time that you run a business, that slowly on you just react quicker. Things are less dramatic when they happen.
Yeah, I think it's the chain. So it's all happened so closely. We came out of COVID, and then we're looking like we were going into recession. We're looking to go into recession, then the war, and everything.
Yeah.
It's how quick everything's, and I think as business owners over the last 3 or 4 years, we've just not had a chance to go, oh, okay, it's all a little bit stable. We've had to be reactive on a lot of external factors.
Yeah, I would agree. So actually, that nicely links me into what's going to happen in the next 5 years. Like in your industry, what are you expecting to happen in the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's technology is advancing. With the likes of AI and everything that's coming on board, and because we are so evolving so quickly, the next 5 years doesn't really daunt us. There's nothing going, oh, okay, gosh, because 6 months is a long time within the IT industry. And we're taking a different direction and everything. So people have become more tech savvy, that's for sure, and they're going to understand their technology and want more from it, that's for sure. So there's going to be hopefully more opportunities for us to grow. I think the people side of it is still as well is people are going to look for cost savings, and again technology is going to be that sort of thing as well. So I think we're an interesting 5 years, but I don't think there's anybody in the industry that can probably tell you what's going to happen in the next year or never mind 5. But as we sort of go, and again, you're using that toolkit that we spoke about just earlier on, is to work your way through it, really. So
you've already alluded to that there'll be some opportunities for your business to still grow. What are those?
Yeah, this is, it's the different factors of those. So for us, I think it's going to be more requirement of our services. So there's going to be people procuring, of a new hardware, and really looking at technology to see if that can save the money and that sort of thing. So much more aligned with the latest tech, really. So the opportunities for us as businesses grow, recruitment is very, very busy at the moment. So we've got a great thing in that section, a number of customers in that sector. but yeah, so I don't know if those people work their way through, and I think people are just going to. We've gone past the people where people are. People embracing technology. I think they're going to embrace it more, and there's an acceptance that it's going to play a much greater part of our lives going forward.
So obviously opportunities, but that also means we've got some potential challenges on the other side of that. Any specific ones that you kind of go, actually, we're expecting X, Y, Z to happen in our industry or in your business?
Yeah, I think this could be said to every business owner that probably watches this and goes, I don't think you can actually do a 5-year plan because of where you're at. I think at the moment, I think we just have to be in a 12-month plan. Maybe 3 years in some sectors. Okay. But I think with everything that we alluded to and spoke about earlier on, I'm pretty, with everything that's changing, I think 12 months is if you have a good, robust 12 months to say, look, this is my plan. I want to recruit 5 more people. I want this amount of customers. I want to be this amount of revenue. And then, maybe spend a lot of time and say in 3 years' time, I picture the business to look like this, but not burn too many calories on it, because I think I really there's a number of factors that need to be sorted out, like the Brexit thing that's going on in Ireland and the war in Ukraine, and I think that hopefully touch wood that will be brought to resolution shortly, and I think then and only then we can start to go, okay, this is what the bigger world factor is. But with there's so many unknowns, that's kind of what we're doing. We're sort of spending the next 12 months ago really focusing on that, having a sort of aspirational 3-year, 5-year. That's where we'd love to get to. Retirement would be nice, but
oh really? Are you retiring in the next 5 years? I did not realize that, Stuart. Well done.
But yeah, I think for anybody that watching this is to really sort of hunker down and make sure that you've got a strong platform. And if there should be another sort of cog thrown into us, then you can deal with it, Totally.
Well, you've already mentioned the word aspirational, so let me kind of change that a little bit. Who or what do you find inspiring?
Who do I find inspiring? That's a really great question. The likes of obviously Elon Musk and people along that lines as well, who've been able to create these corporations, like Jeff Bezos and people like that, and it is possible, to start off in the shed and with the right sort of things and a good lot of luck as well, I would have thought, but with planning, it is possible, and I think there's lots of opportunities out there. You just got to go there. So yeah, that's the kind of guys that I really aspire to.
Okay, love that. So talk me through some of the things that you still want to achieve in the next 5 years, and I don't mean the business. I mean you, Stuart, personally. Like, what's on your bucket list for the next couple of years?
Yeah, my bucket list. Wow. Okay. I think it's to secure the business. We're developing the group business as well. So we have a number of smaller companies underneath the group umbrella now, which will allow me to focus more on doing more, looking at other offerings and looking at other ideas and business ideas. And I've also still got a young family as well. So I start my family late in life. So they are becoming more demanding as well as they grow.
Yes. and they expect certain holidays potentially, or certain days out, etc.
I have the luxury now of having a team behind me where I can go and have a holiday. And everything continues, and I'm probably better off out the way, some might say, with it. But hopefully they don't say that. But yeah, so from my point of view, from personal aspiration, is to really sort of spend a bit more time with my family, and sort of spend a bit more time on the golf course, hopefully.
Improving that swing, are you? Or trying to.
I'm trying to. I think it's more of a hack at the moment.
I have to admit, I don't know anything about golf, so that's always a conversation where I go, oh, we had a question the other day in one of the board games, and I had to duck out of that one. No idea. What would be the advice that you would give 18-year-old Stuart if you had the opportunity to go back?
Right, it's make the most of opportunities that come in your direction. I think that would be the most sort of thing. I think, you know, and aspire to what you want to do. You know, I think I'm sat here at a lot over 18 and still not really completely clear where I want to go. But I think it's to take every opportunity that comes. And sometimes it's the right thing and sometimes the wrong thing, and just learn and then develop and move forward from that. I think that's a great learning curve.
I love that. To end us with, I've got 3 questions that I always ask every guest. What for anybody that's watching this, that's thinking of starting a business or that's just started, what would your top 2 tips be for them?
Be absolutely clear on what it is you want to do. If you're clear, then you'll be able to sell it. So you've got to be clear yourself and understand and really have that clarity, and know that. And the second thing is just go for it. You know, there's lots of, your body will always, you know, the fight and fear and the run and everything that we're looking out. You know, you will have the natural instinct to hold back, and you know, and sometimes you just got to fight through that, and really just, you know, that's what you do, and just look around that, you know, people do there. You know, you read in the news that, well, lots of businesses fail in the first year and everything. But, you know, you have your clarity and have your customers understand what you do, and you can achieve if you go for it.
I absolutely love that answer. So, and that leads me on actually to the second to last question. How has having a business compared to what you thought it was going to be like? Is it harder? Was it easier? Was it kind of on par? How did it compare?
Well, I don't think anything can set you up for things. I think I said to people, it's an emotional roller coaster, which is a great synergy, because in just 1 hour you can have the highest high and the lowest low.
Yes.
And then repeat all over. So be prepared for that. But you know, the excitement that you get, and you know, when you start to be able to do what we've done, and get a team together and start helping to contribute to the local environment and the community, and that's it's amazing. But so you know, you need to brace yourself that it isn't all going to be great, but when it is great, it is great, you know, and I enjoy it so much.
And I think I can guess the answer to the last question here, but knowing what you know now, would you start a business again?
Yes, and I think I would, even in this climate. I really believe there's still great opportunities, even more so now. If you look around, you know, we've got so much opportunities. The councils and the local development centres and everything that wasn't there when we started 8 years ago. They really have realised that, you know, the face of business in this country has changed, and it's not big conglomerates like Rolls-Royce and Post Office and people like that. It's small, we use the better word, cottage industries that are actually, you know, growing, and that support is so much more there now. So I think if I was to do it all over again, then I'd definitely go. At the moment, it would be a really good time.
Would you have, I do this all the time, Stuart, to say I've got 3 more questions and I think of another one. Would you start something in the same industry, or would you go do something totally different?
Yeah, I mean, we got the opportunity because we've got the Blucando group and we're developing and everything. So
Yeah.
we're looking at several different other companies
Okay.
because we've now got a plethora of skills that can be applied to another company.
Okay.
So if we could find somewhere another company, which we're looking at the moment, that are a fantastic group of guys, you know, but don't have the business acumen. You
Okay.
know, and I think we could actually together in partnership really make the business a success. So
Nice.
yeah, there's definitely, but yeah, would I, 8 years ago, if I go back and say, would I start in IT? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I would in IT.
Okay.
I think I'd be looking at other things. So sailing boats probably would be another thing.
Something fun.
Yeah.
Not dry, like I shouldn't say that. Some
No,
people might be
no,
watching this and they go, whoa, 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 no, controversial. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh God, Stuart, this was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story, your thoughts with us today. The link to connect up with Stuart and the business are in the comment section below, so please do so. He's expecting you to come and say hello. That's what we'll go with.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mel.
No, my absolute pleasure. And thank you for watching this Business Spotlight. Until next time.
Thank you again.